Good evening, everyone. I'm Christina Moore, the Clinical Director of MacDonald Training Center. Welcome to Shattering Barriers, the 2020 version, which, like everything else, is virtual. I want to give a big MTC welcome to our students who are watching. They have been so moved by Dr. Grandin's journey, they see their futures, unlimited by autism or disability. We watched the movie in class, and the response was overwhelming. Genevieve Meza, whom you'll meet in a minute, says that without Dr. Grandin's inspiration, her life may have taken an entirely different direction. I'll let her tell you more because she tells it better, right from the heart. And tonight, there'll be lots of heart with inspiration and entertainment. Thank you for joining us. After a word or two from our sponsors, Genevieve will start the program.
Hello and good evening. My name is Stacy Pittman, and on behalf of the Bank of Tampa and BT Wealth Advisors, I am so pleased to welcome you to Shattering Barriers 2020. MacDonald Training Center's programs and services truly transform the lives of people living with disabilities, empowering them with valuable education and training to open doors and shatter any barriers they may face. As the largest community bank in the Tampa Bay area, the Bank of Tampa is extremely proud of the longtime partnership and relationship we have with MTC. We hope you're as excited as we are to hear from Dr. Temple Grandin as she brings her unique perspective and experience to the Tampa Bay community of families, individuals, and professionals with autism. Thank you for your support of MacDonald Training Center, and welcome again to Shattering Barriers 2020.
Hi, I'm Robin Mock with Emmy Wilson. We are proud to partner with the MacDonald Training Center and the Shattering Barriers event. I am personally so excited to meet virtually Temple Grandin. I heard of her back in 2010 when the movie came out, and if you haven't seen it, check it out. She will be an inspiring speaker, and thank you all for attending tonight and for your support of MacDonald Training Center. Thanks.
Hello, my name is Genevieve Meza, and I want to thank you for supporting MTC and being a part of this virtual Shattering Barriers fundraiser. I was diagnosed with autism when I was 13. My first diagnosis was actually when I was a child, but I didn't have any records of it. So when my grandmother got me in 2009, I needed a new diagnosis. And after getting that diagnosis, my grandmother had no idea really what autism was or what behaviors that I would encounter in my life and if I would even have a normal life. So this lady with Success for Kids that was helping us, Deborah, her and her team managed to give Grandma a gift card, and she went looking for books online. And through her search, she stumbled across Temple Grandin. She found her movie, which had an actress that portrayed her very well, and then her book. That just really was eye-opening to us, and it helped her see what autism was like and what my future could be like. And after gaining some very helpful knowledge from Temple Grandin's documentary, the book she had written, and some other resources, and some very encouraging and helpful people, she realized that autism does not limit me. Yes, I have day-to-day struggles. I still have my own behavior quirks that I deal with on a day-to-day basis. But it does not define me. It does not limit me. It does not make me disabled. It makes me capable in every way of doing so many things that lots of people thought that I would never do. Over the years, and through lots of encouragement and help, I came to achieve so many obstacles and challenges. And today I am proud to say that I am not only a client at MTC, but because Grandma took some thoughtful guidance, I graduated with a standard diploma from Center Academy of Riverview, valedictorian with a 4.5 grade point average. I am working to become a registered behavior technician, and I am learning some valuable art skills that will help me improve with selling art at not only MTC's Fine Art Studios, but through my business, Mez Art Studios, INC, short for Incorporated Christian Arts and Graphics. And I am proud of where God has taken me and all the things that He's brought me through and where I've come in my life. I want to just say thank you to Temple Grandin for supporting MTC and being an impactful and vital part of my autism journey and overcoming. And I would also like to thank Grandma and God. And thank you all so much for coming and supporting MTC and all that they do. Have a beautiful, blessed, and safe staycation at home.
Good evening. Thank you all for joining us. We're so glad that we could still do a virtual Shattering Barriers this year, even though we can't meet together in person. And my name is Cheryl Worsham. I've been affiliated with the MacDonald Training Center for a little over 15 years, and it's been my honor to serve on the board for the past 5 years. It's such a wonderful organization. I've had such a good life, and I've been so fortunate. I wanted to find a way that I could give a little back. But when I did, I realized I got so much more from being a part of MacDonald Training Center than I've ever given. And one of the blessings in my life has been Mr. Jonathan Davis, one of the best musicians I've ever worked with. And we've been collaborating for years now, doing concerts. And it's my joy to introduce you to this young man.
Good evening, and thank you all for joining us. I wish that all of us would be together, but because of COVID, it's just impossible to be together. But without you and the support of MacDonald Training Center, it would just have been impossible. But we just want to thank those who do support MacDonald Center, because we want to live the lives we choose.
Do you want to celebrate the life of Leonard Cohen?
Oh, yes, I do.
Let's do Hallelujah.
Oh, yes. I heard there was a secret chord that David played and it pleased the Lord. But you don't really care for music, do you? But it goes like this: the fourth, the fifth, the minor fall, and the major lift. The baffled king composing hallelujah. Your faith strong, but you needed proof. You saw her bathing on the roof. Her beauty in the moonlight overthrew you. She tied you to her kitchen chair. She broke your throne, she cut your hair. And from your lips she drew the hallelujah. 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 Maybe I've been here before. I've seen this room, I've walked this floor. I used to live alone before I knew you. I've seen your flag on the Marble Arch, and love is not a victory march. It's a call and it's a broken hallelujah. 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 There was a time when you let me know what's really going on below, but now you never show that to me, do you? Remember when I moved in you, and the Holy Dove was moving too, and every breath we drew was hallelujah. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Shattering Barriers with Dr. Temple Grandin. I am Lenore Horton, Chair of the MacDonald Training Center Board of Directors. I am delighted to welcome you to this exciting and inspirational program on behalf of the individuals we serve, MTC staff, and the Board of Directors. Tonight, we have a unique opportunity to come together as a community to be with a woman who truly has shattered barriers. By sharing her story, Dr. Grandin has transformed how our country and the world views people with autism. Tonight is our opportunity to be up close and personal with this living legend. Tonight is also a fundraiser for needed financial support for our programming for people on the autism spectrum. While we wait for Dr. Grandin to join the program, please visit our silent auction. Consider making a donation to fund increased needs and services as a result of the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. With the pandemic, MTC's capacity to provide vitally needed services is stretched to the limit. Months of safer at home restrictions, where our heroes sheltered in place with some of the most challenged members of our community, and suspension of many of our other needed services are taking their toll. We need your support to extend innovative online and in-person classes as we carefully reopen services that were suspended in March. Tonight, we reach out to you as the extended MTC family to help meet the increased needs. Please be generous, bid on auction items, and make a donation if your personal budget will allow. We are all in this together, and our friends and neighbors with disabilities are counting on us now more than ever before. Thank you for your support.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the auction. This is Stacy Fender.
I'm Christina Moore. So good to be with you guys.
Hope you're having a great evening, and we'd like to introduce you to a bunch of our auction items tonight. First, I want to say a very simple way for you to donate is you can actually just text. So you can text MTC 2020, all one word. And you can text that to 44321. That's MTC 2020 to 44321. So Christy, let's get started and look at some of the auction items.
There's so many good ones. I don't know if I'm excited about the yachts or the dinner parties or all the great sports memorabilia. What stands out to you?
Amazing. I think a couple for sure. Definitely the girls' getaway weekend on the sailboat. So that is 2 days and 1 night out on a beautiful sailboat. It's a women-run, locally run company, and it just looks beautiful and relaxing and a great way to interact with our friends and people.
I definitely caught my eye as well. I love it's like a girlfriend getaway, but also it could be a family thing. It's not only women if you need, you know, to bring your kids or maybe not, maybe a spouse or friends. It does. And there's a few other boating options as well. If like the 2 or 3 day option wasn't a thing, they definitely have like a 1 day or a few hour options as well. I saw it down here, which is really, might work with people's schedules a little better, but.
Yes, that looks beautiful. Also, every year we do, around fall, we have a Table in the Park event. That's such a beautiful event where we sit outdoors under the stars, usually in Curtis Hickson Park. And one of the highlights of that evening is the rum cake at the end. I mean, everybody asks for it and just loves it. It's so delicious. And so that's one of the auction items as well. For all of those people who have been to Table in the Park, it's a big favorite.
I love it. And like it says, a great Thanksgiving end to the meal. So the holidays coming up. Yes. I don't know about you, but I was really excited to watch our Lightning win and to see that we have a signed jersey by our captain. I don't know. I think that will definitely be a hot item. I think a lot of people are talking about that and excited to get their hands on it.
For sure, for sure. And we have so much Tampa Bay pride because of that Stanley Cup. So proud to bring that cup home to Tampa, and what a great jersey. So certainly a great one to bid on. Another one that looks great is one of the footballs. So there are a couple out there right now. One is actually, I think that there's just one football out there, but it's signed by Mike Allstott. And he's such he was such a great football player and just a legend in the Tampa Bay area and does so much for the community. And we're so happy that he signed a football for us and that we can offer that in our auction tonight.
Yes, and then the other Bucks item was, I believe, a jersey from Mike Evans. So, you know, depending if you're a newer Bucks fan or the classics, we have you covered.
Yep. So that's it for this portion of the auction review. And I just want to remind you again to text MTC 2020 to 44321. And that will help out MacDonald Training Center continue to provide great services to the community that they're providing them to. Thank you so much.
Keep exploring the auction site and all the wonderful goodies. But now, as clinical director, it's my honor to introduce to you our phenomenal leader, Karen Levy.
Dr. Grandin will be joining us shortly. I wanted to take some time to tell you of the backstory of why we invited Dr. Grandin to speak to us tonight. Dr. Grandin often says that if there were no people on the autism spectrum, there would be no Silicon Valley. Dr. Grandin also says in her TED Talks or in person that she sees many similarities between the CEOs of technology companies and those young, quirky people playing video games where no one will hire them. Dr. Grandin, more than most, knows how to see and maximize the potential in all people. Like Dr. Grandin, MacDonald Training Center strives to look at the abilities and strengths of each person. With her guidance, in 2017, we launched Excel, Excellence in Computer Education and Learning. We hired professionals in computer education, behavior analysts, and other specialized instructors for this new and innovative technology program. Last December, our very first class graduated. Students with autism who now have industry-recognized certifications. What an accomplishment. This year, our class will have the unbelievable opportunity to move into automation through a Tech2Work partnership with the Learning Academy at USF. What an amazing accomplishment for these young people. Like people with autism, the needs are great. Today, 1 in every 54 births will be a child diagnosed on the autism spectrum. 1 in 54. 1 in 4 of us will have a disability in our lifetime. In Hillsborough County, that means 500,000 households have a person with 1 or more disability. Again, the need is great. People on the autism spectrum and other disabilities have suffered during the pandemic. The social isolation, the fear, the anxiety, the loss of jobs, the loss of interaction has been horrific. Their lives have significantly changed. Tonight, I want to take time to thank the many heroes who have helped the people we serve along the way. I'd like to thank our board of directors. I'd like to thank our donors. And most importantly, I'd like to thank our team members. I'd like to recognize the employment team who had many difficult days in having to tell individuals that they have lost their jobs, furloughed, or permanently laid off. It was heartbreaking. I want to thank the superheroes who sheltered in place to ensure that our seniors were healthy and safe. Thank you. I want to thank all of our staff for all of their dedication, devotion, love, and commitment. Without you, we could not continue to do what we do for our community. I'd like to thank the MacDonald Training Center Parents Group. Your guidance and insight has helped us incredibly along this very, very trying challenge. And for that, we thank you. Our need is great. The people we serve have lost their jobs, are anxious, and have lost their sense of belonging. But with people like you, we know that we can continue to meet their needs and ensure that they have many opportunities for growth and development. Before I go tonight, I would like to tell you a story that inspired me significantly over the last couple of days. This is the story of a young woman named Genevieve. Genevieve's grandmother, her family member, needed to take custody of Genevieve, but she didn't know anything about autism. She just knew that there was a little girl who needed help, but to her, autism was scary and, quite frankly, shocking. The social worker who worked with her family member suggested that she read a book by Dr. Temple Grandin. And today I can tell you that Genevieve is a superhero. From that little girl who was scared and alone, and that little girl who no one thought could succeed, she now has passed all of her Microsoft certifications and is now working to be a social worker herself. Genevieve, you are my hero. You are my superhero. You show us all that when we work together and we're united in a shared mission and a shared purpose, all things are possible. And for that, I thank you. I thank you that during these very uncertain times, you are a ray of hope and a ray of light.
Hello, I am Phyllis Guthman, and I am delighted to be your moderator this evening. Welcome to all of our guests, sponsors, board members, staff, student participants to MacDonald Training Center's Shattering Barriers with Dr. Temple Grandin. Dr. Grandin is well known for her trailblazing work as a spokesperson for people with autism, as well as her lifelong work with animal behavior. In fact, she is one of the most respected experts in both autism and animal behavior in the world. So get ready for an inspirational, interactive talk with international superstar, Dr. Temple Grandin.
Well, finally got here. We got a little bit messed up on the time. But all's well, all's well. Yeah, and the veterinary meeting that I thought wasn't going to happen turned out they did happen. Well, thank you for taking the time to see us. I'm Rita. This is Libby over there in the, in the red. And that's Phyllis Gutman in the back, who is the publisher of Disability Resource Hub, and she's going to be the moderator for this evening. Okay, well, I think we'll just do something really, really short, and then we're going to just turn it into question and answer. I think would be the best thing to do. Yes.
So what do you see as the future for autism then?
Well, don't get so hung up on the label. What can the kid do? You see, I'm not a verbal person. So I see, oh, this boy here, I need to pull him out of here. Let's introduce some tools, or let's just put this kid deep into programming and see what happens. Because Silicon Valley's hiring right now. You see, the thing is, everybody's in their silo. Okay, Silicon Valley doesn't know what's going on in the, in your world. You don't know what's going on in the industrial world.
Right.
And we have a serious loss of skills. Serious. We no longer make, in this country, the state-of-the-art machine for making electronic chips. It's from Holland. And I think this gets back to our educational system of taking out all the hands-on classes. I got to see pictures of that machine, and you've got the mathematical thinking in there, but you've also got a lot of the visual thinking in it, too. The other thing I'm seeing with a lot of this job stuff is they don't differentiate where bagging groceries is a training step. And that's the type of client where it is a suitable career. Now, I suggested to a girl the other day, I said, why don't you just become an essential employee and get a job in a grocery store? And I asked her, do you have any older people living in your house? No, she doesn't. Because us older are more likely to, COVID's a bit more dangerous.
Yes.
And she know older folks living in their home, why don't you become an essential worker? I think for some of these kids, it'd be the best thing they could do. Wouldn't hurt them to be just stocking some grocery shelves for a while, just to learn job skills. I'm not suggesting making the kids that can do making it be the career, but just get some work experience.
Oh, absolutely. And one of our concerns as a publication, as a partner with MacDonald Training Center, is that too often when you go through exceptional student education and voc rehab, they only give you a couple of options. You can be a bagger, you can work at a fast food restaurant. And as you said, that's a good training, but it's not necessarily the career choice of your life.
It's good training. And you see, I just went to a really nice little brand new meat plant that just got built. And you're talking about, I work in industry. I'm going to estimate that 20% of the people that I've worked with is welding people and real skilled trades, drafting, designing, 20% of them autistic, dyslexic, ADHD, undiagnosed, building things. For the visual thinkers like me, there's a lot of them that ought to go into high-end skilled trade.
So let's pivot a little bit. You're sort of a living legend, as you know. Not everyone has a movie made about their life story. What was that experience like, having a movie made about your
it was, it got me a lot busier. Now, one thing the movie shows, visual thinking is shown accurately in that movie. How I think is shown accurately. But not everybody with autism is a visual thinker. Then you got
Right.
your math thinkers. People with autism tend to be specialist thinkers. The visual thinker like me, the math thinker, and then the word thinker. The word thinker, a good job for a word thinker is specialized retail, selling cars, where you're appreciated for your knowledge of the product. There's been some very big successes with car sales, new car sales.
So let's define that a little bit more. For this is language maybe some parents and support workers aren't familiar with. You've got visual thinker.
Yeah, the visual thinkers like me. The visual thinkers like me are going to be good at making websites that are really nice, really great user interfaces. I'm not a programmer, but like Zoom is popular because there's a really nice interface. I used another website called StreamYard.com. I really like that one too, because I don't have to learn how to use it. And on my schedule, I got to learn how to spend an hour learning how to use some horrible platform that I don't want to use. You see, that's interface.
Okay.
That's the visual thinker. Now, the back of it is the programming. You see, this is why on the really big things, you've got to have the programmers and you've got to have the interface people. But the art mind is going to be really good at designing advertising, graphic design, drafting, design, industrial design. If you want a college career, it's industrial design.
Okay, perfect.
And then skilled trades, high-end skilled trades.
Now the math.
Welding where you can read drawings. Plumbing, electrical, heating and air conditioning, fixing cars, fixing trucks. High-end skilled trades. Another one, you'll have a job forever, fixing the electric wires.
Yes.
That's a 2-year community college degree. They're hiring. I've actually looked this stuff up. Then the mathematicians, programming, and the more mathematical parts of engineering. That's your mathematicians. Then your word thinkers they like facts. There's been a very good success with selling specialized business insurance has been a successful one. Selling cars has been another successful one. Knowledge of specialized products. And then they got to be taught some diplomacy. Let's say you work in a sporting goods store and you can't say, well, this hockey stick's a piece of garbage. You know, you can't, you have to say it like, that might be a beginner stick. And if your son's really interested in hockey, I'd get a little better quality stick. You see, that's saying it diplomatically. And then the manager just needs to explain to them quietly, you can't call on merchandise garbage.
Yes.
You see, you have to explain to them what they should do.
The soft skills.
But those are, and they teach it one specific example at a time. Pull them aside in private. My first job, I criticized some welding, and I said it looked like pigeon doo-doo. And the plant engineer pulled me into his office quietly. He made me apologize for that. Ooh, I had to go up to the cafeteria and apologize. He told me what I should do. And he didn't scream at me. He told me quietly, in private, in his office, what I should do.
And did you keep that lesson?
Yes, I did.
Okay. So that's the kind of supports that some people need ongoing, you know, as they go through their work experience and their training. They need to have maybe someone that can tell them that.
There's eventually, I heard about a really smart guy, library, working in libraries and archives is a good place for the word thinkers.
We should be looking at what their strengths are. And speaking of that, I'd like to introduce you to one of our students. She is part of MacDonald Training Center's Excel program, which is Excellence in Computer Education and Learning. And Genevieve has a question for you, so we're going to bring her on right now, okay?
Okay, good.
Thank you, Dr. Grandin.
I don't see her coming on yet.
She'll be up shortly.
Okay, well that's good. But there's the thing is, you got to figure out where their skill is at. Because the thing with autism is you always have got uneven skills. The skills will be uneven. Good at one thing and are horrible at something else. Take the thing they're good at and build on it.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more.
But I'm seeing too many parents that when I suggested their kid go shopping, I had one mom start crying and she said she couldn't let go, and I suggested her kid should buy some printer paper. He's 16 years old and you've never bought anything?
Yeah,
Never
there's
bought anything.
a tendency to maybe overprotect, which is not very helpful.
No, it's not helpful at all. And I'm talking about really innocent, safe things. I was
Yeah.
riding my bike a mile downtown to go shop at Woolworths when I was, I don't know, 8 or 9 years old, 9 years old, 10 years old.
Mhm.
I'd go buy comics at the comics and little kites and airplanes and stuff.
Yeah, some of those typical things that we shelter some individuals from, and then when they have an opportunity, they're not prepared. Oh, look, she's here. Hi, Genevieve.
Hi, how are you?
Genevieve, we have with us our superstar, international superstar, Dr. Temple Grandin, and I know you have a question, so go right ahead when you're ready, okay?
Well, what would you say to parents who their child has just been diagnosed with autism?
Well, first of all, I have to know the age of the child, because if it's a 3-year-old, I'll have different recommendations than an older child. If it's a 3-year-old, you've got to start getting into early therapy to get speech going and teach skills. And the other thing you got to teach them is turn taking, how to wait and take turns at little games. And then you have a kid that might be older with no speech delay, gets diagnosed on the spectrum because he has no friends. Well, that's the one I'm going to say. Well, you know, there's a lot of famous people like Michelangelo and Thomas Edison and Einstein that were probably autistic. Einstein didn't talk until age 3. Well, that's great that you want to become a social worker. That's wonderful.
Yeah, I want to become an RBT because there's great need for that, and I have autism myself, and I want to help lots of people like me.
Well, that's really good. Don't let it hold you back. One of the things I got to thinking about today, because I just was out and I visited, I got to go to a new lamb plant that just got built. And I was driving back from after visiting that and thinking about some ways to fix some equipment. And I got to thinking about identity. You know, working in the industry, being a professor, being a scientist, being someone who works on designing things, that comes first. Autism's important, but it's secondary to my career. And having an interesting career has made life, you know, worthwhile for me. A social worker, that needs to come first, and then your experiences with autism can help you help some of your clients. Because autism does some things to me. I have a visual thinking skill that's greater than most people have, which helps me on designing things.
Yeah, that's a very good skill to have. That's kind of the way I am. Like, people are amazed at how I remember things, and like even like some of my family members weren't around me because they lived in Florida and I lived in Georgia, and so it was very interesting to them how I could remember everything that happened to me. Like I could describe it very well.
Well, basically, a person with autism has a lot of memory, but the thing where you might have a problem is the short-term memory. So multitasking can be hard. The other thing that I have to have, if I have to do a task with a sequence in it, is I have to have a pilot's checklist for the steps of the sequence. Okay, let's say I had to take apart the McDonald's ice cream machine. I need tear down steps, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I need cleaning steps and reassembly steps and write them down. Now, eventually I could throw away the checklist, but in the beginning, I would need that to remember the sequence.
Absolutely. Genevieve, thank you so much for asking your question. We're going to go ahead and ask one more question because we're kind of getting close on time now, but I really appreciate you being here, and I think that was a great conversation you had with Dr.
Well,
Grant.
thank you, Genevieve, for coming to the meeting. And, you know, just put your eyes on that goal. You're going to become a social worker. That's something you definitely can do. And you got to have a goal.
Well, once again, thank you, Genevieve. We appreciate your participation. So we have one final question from one of our students that couldn't appear live this evening. And I think it's a very interesting question. How do you make friends as a person with autism? How do you make friends with neurotypical people?
Well, most of my friends, it's shared interests. Of course, I got friends on the autism spectrum. I've got friends in the cattle industry. It's friends who shared interests. And when I was in high school, it was riding horses. Friends who shared interests. Friends through scientific research. You know, because she like Genevieve likes art, for example. Friends through an art class and art activities. Or you like pets, then it's dog people or cat people.
Excellent, excellent advice, and it makes perfect sense because that's what we all do anyway. We become friends with people that have the same interest that we have. So it doesn't.
And she has a big art interest. Well, that is something where you can become friends.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. Oh, we do have one more question. Do you have suggestions for people with autism as they enter the workforce?
Be on time and don't be dirty slob. And there's a scene in the movie where my boss slammed down the deodorant and said, "You stink, use it." That scene actually happened. And at the time I was really angry, but now I thank that boss. Be on time and you're going to have to do stuff they tell you to do.
Okay, that's wonderful. So let's wrap it up with this final thought. How can we create a culture in companies that's more welcoming to hire people with autism, like an autism ambassador? What can companies do to welcome our community of people that are looking to
let's
work?
just talk about a few things. Quiet place to work is one thing they're going to need. Multitasking is a problem. Now, things like web design or the design I did with hand drafting, that doesn't require multitasking. Going back to the warehouse jobs, there's one job in there that I'd have a hard time with. The ones where you walk, I could do just fine. Because while I'm walking, I'm not multitasking. You know, it doesn't have the fast multitasking. Long strings of verbal instructions. The person with autism, you can't be vague, like say design new software. They need to be given a specific task. It's on this platform, takes this much memory, it's going to do this. You don't tell them how to program it, but you tell them what the outcome has to be and a deadline on it. You know, very clear. You can't be vague. And if social mistakes are made, somebody needs to quietly pull them aside in private and say, well, you just called Jim stupid. You need to apologize for that. Or you told about, you know, this science fiction movie like 6 times the same person and they're sick of it. You can tell that twice and that's it. That's the kind of rule I use. And the other thing to make it welcoming is show the skills off. I mean, interview for me was lay the drawings on the table. It was shown in the movie. That drawing on the table with those cattle animated over it, that's a copy of one of my actual drawings that was used to build a job. And the job is still operating.
So you're suggesting that organizations allow individuals to show off their strengths and to...
Well, when I do an interview, I always showed it off. That's how I did an interview.
Yes.
I'd show off an interview for me when I was selling jobs was to get the drawings out on the table. I always did that. And one mistake I made is to let the drawing get raggedy. No, you got to get a fresh copy.
Yeah, you have to protect it. Well,
get another copy of it. Well, I never used original drawings for showing. Just one company, big corporation, brand name, I can't tell you what it is, obviously. It's not live, nothing to do with the ag industry. And they had a vice president level person in charge of the disability stuff and really got all kinds of disabilities really well placed. Well, he had a health emergency and had to quit. And the replacement didn't do as good a job. You see, I have found on a lot of innovative things in corporations, not just dealing with disabilities, but anything, there's usually 1 or 2 people in that big corporation that make really good stuff happen at the vice president level. Like when I did my work with MacDonald's, animal welfare auditing of meatpacking plants. There was one vice president two vice presidents actually that just really got the thing going and got it going. Because that's you have to have somebody, and this guy was real hands-on to figure out simple accommodations for people.
So it seems like maybe to have someone in the HR department and organizations.
Well, yeah, that person was in the HR department originally. But you see, what I found a lot of things, let's say inventing equipment. This has nothing to do with this. Well, it does have to do with disabilities, because people with disabilities invent stuff and have patents, lots of patents. And this technology we've got right now, interface probably brought to you by a visual thinker, everything that works behind the scenes, a mathematician, kind of more of a thinker. You need all the different kinds of minds, but I don't care if it's inventing things or a good advertising program. Usually in a big corporation, there's a few champions that make stuff happen in a particular area within that corporation. Also, big corporations are not monolithic.
Right.
They're absolutely not monolithic. I've worked with a ton of big corporations, but you get a champion like my McDonald's animal welfare audits. That worked because I had 2 people in that company that made that work. 2 people. That's not a committee. And they were vice president level people. And so you get the right champion, and then that champion left suddenly. He had no way of transferring because he had a, I had a very bad health issue and had to quit.
Thank you so much, Dr. Grandin. This has just been such a wonderful and unique experience for us. I know all of our guests have really enjoyed this opportunity to hear directly from you. I know it has been so inspirational for family members and our students and participants and our staff. I'm sure everyone is just trying to take it all in. If a parent is listening right now, or an individual with autism is listening right now that is thinking, what book does Dr. Temple Grandin have that would really help me in my job search or in my employment path? Do you have
the
one?
The autistic brain, you can skip the first half on genetics and stuff. The second half is got the different kinds of minds and then all the different jobs for the different kinds of minds. That would be helpful.
Well, thank you once again. We really appreciate you joining us today. And there aren't words to tell you how much we appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much. And it's been great being here. And I guess I'm going to leave the meeting now.
Hi, I'm George Fuentes, MacDonald Training Center board member, also a proud parent of a young son on the autism spectrum. Just wanted to say how grateful I am for Dr. Grandin, all she's done to shatter barriers for children on the spectrum. I want to thank her for all that she's doing, and I know that my son, so many others, are benefiting from her perseverance, so thank you very much.
Hey everybody, we're back again, and we are just so amazed and inspired by what this event this evening, and listening to Dr. Grandin speak and Genevieve, just absolutely inspiring and heartwarming.
Yes. So this is towards the end of the evening. So this is our last chance to get in your auction items, to get your last bids in before everything gets closed down. So keep bidding, and remember that there's the Insta-buys. So we have opportunities to just help the people in our community, pizza parties for some of the homes that we support, laptops for our computer programs and our certification classes and for our students. So there's a lot of opportunities if you're in a place where you're like, I'll say fall cleaning, not really spring cleaning, and you don't want the more items, or there's still ways to help support the community and the programs.
Yeah, and MacDonald Training Center, like so many others during this very trying time, has had to pull back a lot of their services over the last so many months. Actually, last month they brought back in students live, and that's amazing. And they have been doing virtual schooling all throughout this time, and that's been going so well. So things like the laptop, that's such a huge help for the clients at MacDonald Training Center, and anything that you provide tonight is going to be a huge help. It's definitely needed. So I want to remind you that you can text to give. You can text MTC 2020 to 44321. That's MTC 2020 to 44321.
We wish you all the best of luck scoring all the fabulous items from our auction. This has been a wonderful night, and I'm thrilled to see so many of my favorite people here gleaning perspective from Dr. Grandin. It is now my pleasure to introduce to you the partners who are forging ahead with us on new educational journeys.
Good evening. I'm Dr. Beth Boone, Executive Director of the Center for Autism and Related Disabilities and the Learning Academy Services at the University of South Florida. CARD USF has been supporting individuals with autism and their families, caregivers, and communities for 27 years through direct support, training, technical assistance, and resource and referral information. The Learning Academy Services provides a 30-week transition program for adults on the autism spectrum, and we also provide the full array of employment services and supports through vocational rehabilitation. We are grateful for our partnership with MacDonald Training Center to create the Tech to Work program. If you are a neurodiverse learner looking for a pathway to employment or to enhance your skills in the field of technology, we have the answer. Tech to Work is a 3-semester program leading to certifications in IC3, digital literacy, and robotics process automation. These courses have been designed to meet your learning needs. Programs like Tech to Work are inspired by Temple Grandin's strong advocacy for careers for people on the autism spectrum in the field of technology. We appreciate the opportunity to participate in bringing Dr. Grandin to this audience and urge you to enjoy and learn and be inspired to pursue your best life.
VIP Works is the Bright Feet's Disability Resource Hub employment training program. Partnering with MacDonald Training Center allows us to work with Excel participants. They actually learn and do the work of Disability Resource Hub and Bright Feet's publications, including digital marketing, social media, formatting the directory details into our print magazines, creating video promotions and email marketing, and much more. It takes a team to make VIP Works a success. Our Tampa partner, MacDonald Training Center, provides their location, on-site administration and training staff, vocational rehabilitation connections, equipment such as computer and supplies, but most importantly, they share our dedication to the program and our mission to provide meaningful employment training opportunities to individuals with unique abilities. We deeply appreciate MacDonald Training Center for helping us at Disability Resource Hub to turn capabilities into careers.
Hi everyone, my name is Jennifer Sabo, and I'm the Executive Director for Arts for All Florida. Arts for All Florida is so excited to be partnering with MacDonald Training Center on tonight's amazing event. In case you're not very familiar with us, Arts for All Florida is a statewide organization that provides, supports, and champions arts education and cultural experiences for and by people with disabilities. We do this by providing art education programs at schools, juvenile justice facilities, and community centers, by highlighting the accomplishments of artists with disabilities through exhibitions and performances, and by increasing access to the arts through professional development opportunities. Tonight, we want to share with you the performance of One Love by a number of our Florida Young Performers winners, as well as 2 amazing artists on our registry. The performers in this video are Aaron Cheeseborough, Matthew Cravener, Joseph Ettenay, Mira Gaetanis, Paul Gavin, Sarah Hardwig, Stephanie Slagle, Matt Weimuller, and James Williams. As an organization that believes the arts are an excellent career opportunity for people with disabilities, we wanted to note that all of the performers were paid to be in this performance and for their time and skills. For more information on Arts for All Florida, visit artsforallflorida.org, which is arts4allflorida.org. Thank you and enjoy the rest of tonight's program.
love. Oh, let's get together and feel alright. One love, one heart. Let's get together and feel alright. Hear the children crying. One love. Hear the children crying. One heart. Give thanks and praise to the Lord, and I will feel alright. Let's get together and feel alright. Let them all pass all their dirty remarks. This is one question I really love to ask. Is there a place for the hopeless sinner who's all mankind just to sing his song? Believe me. One love, one heart, one heart. Let's get together and feel alright. As it was in the beginning, one love. So shall it be in the end. One heart. And I will feel alright. Let's get together and feel alright. One more thing. Let's get together to fight this holy Armageddon. One love. So when the comes, will be no doom. One soul. Chances broken, there ain't no hiding place. The Father of creation saying, one love, one heart. Let's get together and feel alright. Pleading of mankind, one love, one heart, one heart. Give thanks and praise to the Lord, and I will feel alright. Let's get together and feel alright. Give thanks and praise to the Lord, and I will feel alright. Let's get together and feel alright.
That was amazing. Thank you so much, Dr. Temple Grandin, for having a conversation with us this evening. Visit her website at templegrandin.com to learn more about some of the concepts shared and books mentioned, including Thinking in Pictures and the Autistic Brain. There is also information about the book Autism in Lockdown, which includes tips and insights for individuals with autism spectrum and their families from over 30 of the world's leading experts, including Dr. Temple Grandin. On behalf of MacDonald Training Center, once again, we appreciate all of our guests for joining us. Special thanks to our sponsors, board members, and staff for making this unique opportunity possible, and for all of your continued support of MacDonald Training Center. Visit us at macdonaldcenter.org to learn about our incredible programs designed to empower people with disabilities to lead the lives they choose. Thank you and good evening.